It is a special tradition at the Bayou to honor a member of our community with the Lenny Faye Blonde Award. During her lifetime, the Baroness Lenny Faye Blonde generously furthered the work of several important organizations in our community, the Rescue Mission being one of them. Because of this, each year at the Bayou, we honor someone in our community with the award bearing Lenny's name. This year, we are honoring someone very dear to us. While this is the 20th annual Bayou, as we didn't give the award the first year, this is actually the 19th annual Lenny Faye Blonde Award. And it is especially fitting to be recognizing a person who made the Bayou such an important and meaningful tradition by serving as our key MC for many of those years. Here to introduce her to you is a good friend of hers, a good friend of ours, and a previous honoree herself, our District Attorney, Joyce Dudley.
I have known and loved Gerd for about 20 years. Throughout that time, people have sought me out to ask me many questions about her. Today, I thought I might answer the 4 questions most frequently asked. Where does she get her energy from? How could she know so much, care so much, and do so much for our so many nonprofits in our community? She's so damn pretty. What does she use on her skin? And the one most commonly asked, and usually done in a whispered tone, how old is Gerd, really? The most accurate answer to the first question is love. Gerd's energy is inspired by her love for people. Pete, her family, her friends, and her community, the people of Santa Barbara. Which leads to the question of how she could know, care, and do so much for so many nonprofits in our community. And again, the answer is love for her community, and her community loves her right back, as can be gleaned by my reading off just a few of the awards she has received. 1995, Santa Barbara News Press Lifetime Achievement Award. She won that award with Peter. In 1996, chosen to run with the Olympic torch in Santa Barbara. No, only volunteers were chosen, and she was the only female. In 2000, Woman of the Year, chosen by California Senator Jack O'Connell. 2006, recipient of the Westmont Medal. In 2011, Santa Barbara Woman of the Year, an annual award and chosen by former recipients of the same award. In 2019, chosen by a volunteer organization as the Volunteer of the Year for the entire Santa Barbara County. And really, that is just a few. Now, as to why she's so beautiful, the answer to that is because she exudes love and support. And then, of course, there are those great Swedish genes. Finally, how old is she, really? Today is in fact her 21st birthday, because as we all know, the 21st birthday is known as the crown year, and Gerd will always be one of our community's true princesses. I love you, Gerd, but then I'm just one of many.
Joyce, thank you for your kind introduction. It is a great honor to be the recipient of the Lenny Faye Blonde Award, and as a woman I had the privilege of getting to know and witnessing her many acts of kindness to the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission. It is my hope that we will also welcome new friends in supporting this amazing organization. Many years ago, I became aware of the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission and their mission of rebuilding broken lives and providing spiritual and physical needs of men and women in crisis. They offer individualized programs to each resident who are given many hours of training to learn new skills, working at their own pace, and teaching residents how to be a productive part of our community after they graduate. They are also given specialized individual and group counseling while gaining confidence needed to restore their broken lives. In addition, they are offered support groups for family members in helping to rebuild the family unit. I wanted to learn more about this organization that also introduces faith in God into their recovery program. Many of the personal and challenging stories shared by the rescue mission graduates are very difficult to hear and to believe there can ever be any hope for a recovery, but there is, and the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission is the program for that recovery. We live in paradise, but 85% of what law enforcement deals with is drug and alcohol related. Our community is showing that we care about this problem. I have attended many rescue mission graduations and have heard the tragic personal stories and learning about their recovery from very challenging times, and the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission is there to offer a hand up for their recovery. The last rescue mission graduation was on July 24th of this year, and I wanted to share with you a few remarks from several graduates. One said, "The rescue mission is the best thing that happened to me." Another said, "They give you a formula on how to live your life. They taught me how to pray." Another said, "Thanking God, He never gave up on me. I got my life back. I have a stronger relationship with God. I can now live a life that I'm not ashamed of." Graduations are filled with tears of joy, lots of cheering and applause, so much hugging and love being shared. Each graduate is supported by their family members and friends. Families are reunited. Every seat is filled at their graduations. We are so fortunate to have this organization in our community providing care 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, in addition to also feeding the homeless 365 days a year. This important work is happening right here in our community. This community of recovery has been a great personal blessing to me in witnessing these miracles unfolding. We sure need more miracles in our world. Now ending with a quote from Mother Teresa. "The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway." Thank you and God bless you.
Gerd, we count ourselves fortunate to be one of the organizations you have furthered in your decades of visible involvement here in our community. We're grateful not only for your time and service, but for the caring and thoughtful friend you have been to so many staff, volunteers, clients, and board members at the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission. Because of this, it gives us great delight to honor you as the 19th annual recipient of the Lenny Fay-Blond Award. Congratulations and much love to you.
Thank you, Rolf. Thank you so much. It's been a great honor and a great pleasure, along with a great blessing, to be a part of the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission and getting to know all of you. It's just something that's very heartfelt. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Gerd. While we are expecting and looking forward to gathering safely in person out at the Dos Pueblos Ranch this year, we recognize that we may have to adjust our plans, and as some of us would feel safest not attending, we hope that this video will serve in communicating this important work in our community and give you an opportunity to join so many who are concerned for the homeless and addicted in Santa Barbara. Over the course of this pandemic, the notion of essential services has emerged in our language. It's not something I require being commonly used previous to this, but as life across the globe was disrupted, certain functions, organizations, and people emerged as essential because we could not survive without them, and even more hardship would be brought about by their interruption. While we might typically assume that government is the sole provider of essential services, there are critical needs that we commit to addressing ourselves by supporting nonprofit organizations. The Santa Barbara Rescue Mission is such a provider of essential services that, thanks to you, have remained intact throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. We're the only place between Ventura and Santa Maria that provides emergency food and shelter 365 nights a year, which serves as a safety net for people who have had the bottom drop out of life. As Christian people, we extend care and hospitality in the hope that it would be instrumental in bringing about hope, restoration, and change in people's lives, as we connect them to the services they need or address their substance abuse challenges through our residential treatment program. Under typical circumstances, over 200 people find themselves under the roof of the rescue mission each night, which is challenging all on its own, but the past 20 months have presented challenges we never could have imagined, from containment of outbreaks, to more people seeking assistance due to economic impacts, to the acuity of untreated medical illness and medical fragility due to services being more difficult to access, and the troubling impacts of increased isolation for people that were already facing such daunting emotional challenges. In the face of all this, I am so grateful that we've been able to keep our essential services intact. I'm so proud of the staff team we have, but we all realize that the work of the rescue mission happens only because individuals like you in our community believe it should happen. We receive no government or municipal funding, so every meal we serve, every bed we provide, and every chance at recovery we extend happens only because someone gives generously of their resources. I'm hopeful that the most challenging days of the pandemic are behind us and that, as we move ahead, we will be able to do our work more effectively and see more lives transformed, because that is what drives our passion. It's easy to get hopeless when confronted by homelessness and addiction. When we see someone living alongside the highway or hear a heartbreaking news story about the pain and destruction caused by addiction, it's understandable to question whether it's possible to undo the damage done. But as people of compassion, we are compelled to try, both out of our concern for a suffering individual and our community as a whole. It's challenging to address all the collateral impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic in our region, but any of us who live here can see that an already complex problem has become more visible and vexing. Each individual story is one of heartbreak and suffering, but the collective cost of untreated addiction in community resources when it comes to law enforcement, social services, incarceration, and emergency medical services is staggering. I'm very encouraged by some new collaboration in our community, and we are actively engaged in the hopes that we might see broader action. But as we do that, it is very important for a proven and effective response, like our 12-month recovery program, to continue leading individuals out of addiction, homelessness, and institutionalization. If you've ever had to walk alongside one person struggling with addiction, you likely know what an incredible challenge it is. Nationally, only 1 in 5 people who attempt drug and alcohol recovery programs actually complete them. Of those who do complete recovery programs, again, only 1 in 5 maintain their recovery for 5 years or longer. That's 20%. This would indicate that we are greatly underestimating the power of addiction and therefore not providing appropriate modalities for treatment. In comparison to this, we are proud that our treatment completion rate currently stands at 42%, and more importantly, our long-term recovery rate stands at 53%. These statistics represent incredible miracles and hope, and there's no better way for you to understand this than for you to hear from someone about how donors at the rescue mission changed his life. So I'd like to ask our friend JP to come and tell his story.
My name is John Gallagher IV, but many know me as JP. I would like to share my sobriety date, November 7th of 2013. When I got sober, I was told that it never has to change. This is the story of my journey to the place that made that date possible. My story begins right here in Santa Barbara, in the small mountain community of Painted Cave. To this day, I feel blessed to have grown up in such a unique place. My childhood is filled with lots of great memories of mountain life. At the same time, there are a lot of dark memories that once made life hard to cope with. I was born to my mother, Marina, and my father, John Patrick Gallagher III, from whom I get my name. I don't have any childhood memories of my father. From what I've been told, my dad left around the age of 1, and my mother shortly after, leaving me, my older sister, and older brother with my grandparents. I would only meet my dad 2 more times in my life, both at a young age. He would go on to start a new family. As far back as I can remember, I would question why I wasn't wanted. My grandparents gave me much love and support, but we had a very troubled household. My grandfather was a heavy alcoholic and would go on the usual 1-week vodka benders, oftentimes followed by the police taking him to jail. As young as I can remember, this was the normal series of events. Around the age of 7, my sister was removed from the house to go live with my aunt. Shortly after this, I witnessed my older brother beat up my grandfather with a 2x4. Life was traumatic. By 6th grade, my grandparents had divorced and my grandfather left the house. This was devastating to me as he was my father figure. Any father-like guidance was gone at this point. I was ashamed of my home life, especially while going to school, seeing the perfect families with moms and dads. As a child, I just wanted to have a normal family like everyone else. Around this time, my brother, who is 8 years older than me, introduced me to weed. I was in 6th grade. My life changed forever. I found my escape. By 7th grade, I was uninterested in school. I started getting into trouble and falling behind. At the end of 8th grade, my mother moved back to Santa Barbara. She became a friend instead of a mother figure. She was struggling with addiction to crystal meth and alcohol abuse. By this time, I was a full-blown pothead and enjoyed the occasional drink. Anything to escape. I remember starting 9th grade and trying out for the wrestling team. I had the opportunity to wrestle varsity and told myself I was going to stop smoking weed. A short time into the season, I got devastating news. My grandfather, my father figure, my mentor, had died. He was heavily intoxicated and was hit by a train. This absolutely crushed me. This stuff doesn't happen to normal people. By the next day, I was smoking weed and not going to school. The rest of high school was a blur. It was filled with smoking weed and experimenting with drugs and alcohol. Weed, mushrooms, pills, cocaine, and meth were all consumed. Naturally, I ended up in the local continuation high school, La Cuesta. I was a year behind in school. I turned 18 the summer before my senior year. I came home one summer night to find my mom spun out of her mind on meth. By this time, I was used to this behavior. All my stuff was out in the driveway. I was 18, time to leave. Never mind my last year in high school. I ended up renting a playhouse in my friend's backyard that was built for his little sister. This was my senior year in high school. This was my dysfunctional life. At 18, I found the drug that would be my downfall. Heroin. The first time consumed, I was taken to a place that blocked out the whole world. Every negative feeling, emotion, thought, person, etc. was immediately drowned out. Where have you been all my life? Within 3 months, I was fully addicted to heroin. I began losing jobs, losing friends, and losing family. My only purpose was to get loaded, and so my life went. I ended up meeting my daughter's mom in the early years of my heroin addiction. When she got pregnant, I made it a point to get clean. The only time I managed this was on my more frequent trips to county jail. The day my daughter was born, I was sitting in the delivery room, extremely loaded from heroin, bent over with my face in my lap, nodding out. I was physically there for her birth, but sadly that is all I can say. After many attempts and empty promises to get clean, my daughter's mom left me. I can't blame her. Around this time, I heard that my dad had died from cirrhosis of the liver, an alcoholic's death. I was disconnected from life and didn't care. By this point, life was getting darker. I did manage to secure a job as a personal trainer at a gym in Ventura. I was preaching health and fitness while getting loaded on heroin in the bathroom. I met my son's mom while there. She was my coworker and also a personal trainer. We started dating and she quickly found out I was a junkie. Needless to say, the job did not last very long, and that would be my last real job for a few years. By this time, I was doing all the usual things a junkie does to stay loaded. I was cheating, stealing, robbing people, becoming even more violent, and selling drugs. Trips to county jail were the usual. I got my son's mom pregnant, and shortly before he was born, I was picked up on a felony warrant. Another birth of my child was missed. I was homeless, couch surfing, sleeping in cars and garages, and wandering the streets for 3 years. The days were dark. I wanted everything to be over. I was empty. I was lost. The drugs could no longer drown out the emptiness I had since I was a child. They had stopped working years before. I hadn't seen my daughter for almost a year. I was told I would not be able to see my son. I was 27. I had been strung out for almost 10 years. I had been loaded since the 6th grade. I needed help. Not the methadone clinic, not jail, not detox again, not a specialist, but what? Help came in the form of the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission. I still don't know exactly how I got there, My conclusion is, it's God's house and He drew me in. The first day I came, I was broken, a lost and empty soul. Daphne told me welcome home on my intake. That's the day everything changed. I was told I needed an attitude of open-mindedness and willingness, so I did my best to adopt it. Words can't describe what I accomplished inside myself with my year there. I was challenged and listened to by a staff that genuinely cares. They care because they know the struggle. The mission program is based on success. There is nowhere like it on earth. Just ask the countless addicts and alcoholics that have tried every known remedy and failed prior to going to the rescue mission. The relationships I built there will last a lifetime. I was set up for a smooth and successful transition back into the community. The year I spent at the mission was my best year of my life up until that point. Since graduating the mission, an unimaginable, unattainable miracle has taken place. This hopeless, lost, empty soul has found purpose. I have a strong bond with both my children. They know who their dad is, and they won't grow up with the instability that I had as a child. I have a license, I pay my bills, I drive a car. I work for a reputable construction company. I have been blessed with a beautiful wife and an amazing stepdaughter whom I call my own. My wife is a local math teacher for the school district. She is the most amazing person I have ever met. I now have the tools to navigate life. I have a purpose. I remember November of 2018. I had just gotten 5 years clean and sober, a milestone. Just a week later, I got the most tragic news. My sister was killed by a train in Montecito while on the tracks. My heart sank. Not again. This doesn't happen to normal people. First my grandfather, now my sister. Because of the tools I learned at the mission, I did not immediately give up on life. I became the person in my family that people could lean on for support, for advice, for sound reasoning. I had become a responsible man. I was prepared for all the trials and tribulations ahead. I stay very close to the mission. It still feels like the program was yesterday. I have sponsored dozens of men in the program. I continue to stay involved with AA, also sponsoring as many people as I can. Today I give back to the community from which I took so much. The rescue mission has saved countless lives, including my own. I want to thank all the donors who make it possible. Without you, there would be no mission. Without the mission, my kids and countless others would be growing up without parents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles. Long ago, I made a commitment to keep going back and staying involved with the place that started it all. It is my duty to the community and to God. Thank you all for supporting and taking the time to help.
Hi, my name is Joyce McCullough, and I'm privileged to serve on the board of directors of the Rescue Mission. Over the past year and a half, the Rescue Mission has responded to the COVID restrictions while still providing necessary, life-giving ministry to men and women in recovery, as well as to those experiencing homelessness. Our team has had to pivot to replace in-person meetings with remote learning and Zoom groups. Our guests and residents have had to shelter in place, deal with isolation and fear, and reduced opportunities for interaction out in the community. Nevertheless, God's work has continued. People have found God's love sufficient to help them overcome addictions and have experienced the loving care of our staff as they provide a sanctuary for each person seeking out safety and security along their journeys. The faithfulness of God's work, coupled with the compassionate work done every day at the Rescue Mission, continues to be mirrored by you, our faithful friends. We are beyond grateful for the friends who believe in and support our work. Many of you have increased your support over the past 2 years as our needs have grown. Even through the COVID restrictions, we are gratified that with your support, we're looking ahead to the future. We seek God's wisdom and clarity around what ways He would have us move to further our reach into the community, helping those who are the least among us, who need the healing touch of recovery. With your help, we can continue to find ways to bring shalom to Santa Barbara and her people. I'm so grateful for JP's willingness to tell his story. The healing and transformation that has taken place in his life is an outstanding example of well over 800 people who have completed the Rescue Mission's year-long treatment program. I'm also grateful that friends like you never lost sight of JP's incredible worth as a human being and extended hope to him even in the midst of his brokenness and desperation. The Rescue Mission team responds to people like JP by offering hope and encouragement for those who find themselves trapped in addiction and in the challenges of homelessness. How can you and I help men and women like JP find healing? along with resources to aid them in finding their way? If you're watching this video, I ask you to give your financial support to this work by making a gift online today at sbrm.org/Bayou. You're watching because you appreciate the work of the Rescue Mission, and I invite you to make an investment to make sure this great work of compassion, grace, and recovery continues. Today, we hope you'll make a pledge to ensure that we'll be able to continue reaching out to people like JP every day in the year ahead. As our primary public fundraising event, the Bayou has traditionally provided in excess of $400,000 of the $2.5 million operating budget we need each year to meet critical community needs. This year, a generous donor provided us with a $50,000 challenge gift to match every dollar pledged or raised around the Bayou. Because we have such generous friends, that challenge has already been met. Now another donor, seeing that momentum, has stepped up and made a challenge of double that amount, $100,000. Every dollar you pledge during this online event up to $150,000 will be matched and will double the impact of your gift. Won't you join the many friends who have already made a pledge and help us reach our goal? Consider this. The average monthly cost for rehab in the United States is just over $19,000, and some centers exceed $50,000 a month, which puts treatment out of reach for many of us, let alone the people with no place to turn other than the Rescue Mission. Effectively treating addictions that have spanned decades and led people into homelessness and institutionalization requires extensive time in treatment, like a year, in which case that monthly cost of $19,000 multiplies out to $228,000. Yet, because we are a nonprofit and have figured out ways of scaling and stewarding our resources, it costs us only $25,000 to offer a full year of effective treatment to people with no place else to turn. That's a full 89% less than other programs, with a much better long-term outcome. So as you consider how you'll participate with us, please know that a gift of $25,000 will pay for one person's year-long stay at the Rescue Mission. Or if you choose, a pledge of $2,500, $5,000, or $10,000 works out to approximately 1, 2, or 4 months of treatment for one person. Making a gift at those levels makes you a partner in the recovery of people who come to the Rescue Mission to find healing and hope. We know and respect that you may prefer to give at a different level, and we leave you the freedom to do that. Please know that every gift toward our annual budget makes a difference. It will be doubled, and we receive it with gratitude. I urge you to make your gift today to help us reach our $100,000 goal. Head on over to sbrm.org/Bayou and make your pledge now. And thank you for your ongoing support on behalf of everyone at the Rescue Mission. We are so grateful for each and every one of you.